Hello and welcome to Movies on the Side. This is Steven Robles.
And this is Nate Baranowski.
And this week we are reviewing the 2023 Marvel movie, The Marvels. Nate, I'll be honest.
Is that how we pronounce it? Is that how we're pronouncing it?
Oh, shoot. Did I misspell it?
Are we saying The Marvels?
Did I misspell it?
Is it The Marvels or Marvels?
I thought it was The Marvels.
I believe Marvel.
The Marvels. The Marvels.
But
no, it's not The Marvels. No, it's not the Marvels. Like Carvel. You ever have a Carvel ice cream cake? No, we had that.
You ever had a caramel?
You
chocolate
had
bar?
a caramel? You had a caramel? I lost my New York accent. It's so sad. Nate, I have serious concerns about the Marvel universe.
Yeah, we don't know how to pronounce the movie that we just watched?
No. Can I tell you what I really want to see? We're going to talk about this movie in a second.
She's not called Ms. Marvel. She's called Ms. Marvel. She's Captain Marvel. She's not called Captain Marvel.
Yeah, I understand. Sometimes when things are plural, you say them differently, like moose and moose. to say like mouse
What
and
are we
mice.
doing here?
What are we doing? It's been so long since we recorded. I don't know how to do the show anymore. We're going to talk about this movie, which was, I guess, fine. That's my review. Fine. I am like... Listen, I like Marvel. I like Marvel movies. Okay, I like Marvel.
Yeah,
movies.
you do.
I used to anyway, and now it's like.
Are you DC or Marvel?
it's DC, and now now like
it's Iron Man.
It's so now the Marvel universe, the Marvel cinematic universe. It's like that meme where the plane is like nose down, an inch away from the ground, and the pilot's like, "All right, you take over now." It is in flames. I really want to see Madam Web. Because everyone says it's just so bad.
But is that even Marvel or is that Sony?
Well, it's Marvel.
Cosplaying as Marvel.
No, it's in the Marvel cinematic.
It's off-brand. Oh yeah, I got it.
It's got Spider-Man. How is it not Marvel?
Sony's got its.
I know Sony's got
web weaved.
Tom Holland's
woven.
in the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
We're not here to talk about Madam Web because from what I've heard, it's sort
horrible.
of like an AI-generated nightmare, and I'm excited to get to it at a future episode, but we can't blast the cannons before the ship gets in range.
What an analogy. So you wouldn't pay money to see a terrible movie, right? Like, that's probably not.
No.
That's not wise, right?
Did I look to see when Tenet is coming to a 70mm theater near me?
Oh, yeah.
It made me feel like such like a Christopher Nolan bro for me to even consider like maybe I'll go see it in theaters, but that's kind of where I'm at.
Do you know I saw an interview with Stephen Colbert and Christopher Nolan. Christopher Nolan.
Now we're getting them all Marvels.
And he said
Colbert, for those
he
who
loves
know.
the Fast
Colbert.
and Furious movies. Did you know that? Christopher Nolan likes the Fast and Furious movies.
Because he knows what they are, what they're trying to be.
And he knows what he's trying to be. Literally set off an atomic bomb for real in the desert. Have you seen Oppenheimer yet? I haven't seen it yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. I gotta watch it. I gotta watch it with
I have to see Dunkirk first, and then I can see Oppenheimer.
You gotta wait. You gotta go through the whole Nolan universe before you get to.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that what you gotta do?
Exactly.
Okay. All right, so we gotta talk about the Marvels. I'm gonna say that I don't know if that's right or not. Someone can comment.
And I'll
on
say
it.
the Marvels. So we're gonna.
All right, we just say it both.
Hit it from both sides.
The sequel
Steven,
to Captain Marvel. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes. No, you go.
No, you
That's
go.
okay.
No, you go. You were saying something. Go ahead. There's a little bit of delay because you're in your basement and you never use Ethernet. So go ahead.
Here's what I'm saying.
No shade.
This feels like the MCU. Well, it doesn't feel like it. This is what it is. The MCU filmed this and Quantumania at the same time. This was all happening. I believe there was one more Marvel project happening at the same time. Okay?
Yeah, something.
I think what we're seeing is, unfortunately, this movie came out, got pushed.
It did get pushed a lot.
This, hopefully, is one of the last times where we will call it Marvel's overreach of product and attention, and like we'll just put out anything. Plus COVID, I think what we're seeing is this may be the last one where
we hope
where they hadn't got the feedback from Quantumania yet, and they hadn't got the feedback from the last couple things, and they said like they hadn't done the what's the Nick Fury one?
Oh,
Secret
Invasion. That wasn't good either.
Like they haven't got all those together, so it's like, well, we have to release it because we need to make some money, but we know like it's not great.
Right.
But I think we kind of hit there. Like they started having their internal crisis after Quantumania, maybe slightly before.
Here's what I hope.
Maybe when they spent $1 bajillion on She-Hulk, and it was fine. It was fine. I like She-Hulk. It wasn't cost more than Game of Thrones per episode good, but like I think they were like Icarus was still flying up towards the sun at that point.
Listen, I just want to. I was hopeful for Jonathan Majors, and now he messed it up. He's not going to be the big bad anymore. But the latest news, not that this is a news podcast, movie news.
It's not.
But Henry Cavill is supposedly.
I hate this gag. I hate it.
Is supposedly entering the MCU, and we have it on good authority from our friend on the inside. I don't know what he's.
Dr. Doom.
I don't know. He might be Dr. Doom.
A friend of a friend of a friend.
Henry Cavill as Dr. Doom. Listen, I think he might save the MCU, because I'll tell you what, this movie, I don't think will. Now, we don't have to talk about this movie for a long time. I just want to say it's fine. Like, it's fine. But also, so many things that I skipped. I skipped the whole singing city. Did you watch all of that? Like,
yeah,
you just sat there and watched the whole thing? I didn't.
Hold on a second, Steven.
I couldn't.
You and I both have a love for musicals and movie musicals.
If you try to say that this thing is a musical,
it had a musical scene. As soon as they said they speak in song, I said, "Great, bring me a musical number." I don't care at this point in time. I don't care. I was never emotionally invested in this movie, so might as well have a singing number. I can't believe that you decided let's skip it.
No, I mean, I watched enough of it to just. I watched.
Did you see Brie Larson sing?
I saw 2 seconds.
Or at least move her mouth while someone sang.
I need to know if that was actually her singing. Do we know?
We'll never know. I'm going to look it up. We live in an AI-generated world. We'll never know.
We talked about that in our bonus episode. Was that Brie Larson singing in the Marvels? That's what I just searched. Is Brie?
Yeah,
why?
I bet it was. I bet she could sing.
Anyway, okay, so I skipped the part after she started singing because I couldn't tell. Movie was fine. I will just say I didn't like the nemesis of this movie. I felt like, Marvel as a cinematic universe is usually pretty good. I'm just making you so mad. Usually pretty good at making like a good bad guy, as in like,
right.
You either don't like the bad guy or he's like Thanos, and you're like, I kind of get it. I'd snap away half the people I have to interact with.
No, I would say the MCU has a history of having lackluster bad guys. So maybe this is right in line with it.
Now, wait a minute.
Did you find Ronan, the accuser or whatever, a good bad guy?
He was not a bad guy. I think he was fun.
You kind of got it.
But look at the Iron Mans. Those were all good, decent bad guys. That was
fine. You thought
fine.
the guy the mechanic guy who had the little whips, the lightning whips,
Whiplash?
He was a good bad guy?
Whiplash was good. That was a good bad guy. Look at the
tell me all the good bad guys.
Captain America. Winter Soldier was a great bad guy in the Winter Soldier movie, as was Red Skull in the first Captain America. These are good bad guys. Doctor Strange, he had a good bad guy.
What was his bad guy?
The Miles Matheson was the bad guy. He was kind of the bad guy. Mads Mikkelsen. What did I say? Miles Matheson?
Miles Matheson.
I don't know who that is. Mads Mikkelsen. He was a good bad guy in that. Anyway, I think there's good bad guys.
Meh.
This bad guy, I thought a little lackluster. Guardians of the Galaxy 2, good bad guys. Anyway, go ahead.
Jeff Bridges again? Was it Jeff Bridges?
Yes,
no.
I think so. Chris. Chris. We're a little rusty, okay? We haven't recorded an episode in a while.
We haven't done this for a while.
I don't know
All
how to
I can
search
say
the
is
internet for movie stuff
this bad guy, she was, they kind of shoehorned into the first movie. I really wish they would have pulled somebody maybe from that first Captain Marvel movie, because she wasn't in this one. She really didn't have much to do or to think about or to have. Okay, let's go back to this. The script of this movie, not good.
Not great.
It's a rough script.
Great. Yes.
It's a rough script. There is a time where Brie Larson attempts to give sort of an emotional moment about how she feels like it was because of her destroying the AI on her planet that caused the eternal night and somehow got rid of the sun because of a civil war there. And it's supposed to swell and be like she's racked with guilt. That's why she hasn't, seen Monica Rambeau and hasn't really connected at all. This movie doesn't have much emotional weight at all, which is unfortunate because I believe that Kamala Khan in the Ms. Marvel series, her family dynamic was actually touching. Like her parents were touching in that one,
and they were funny in this.
Yeah, but they were kind of reduced to just comedic
relief. Yeah,
elements. Like they didn't have the same kind of heart.
The mom had a couple heartfelt moments, I thought. Like wishing her daughter off or whatever. But it's complicated because you're trying to shoehorn 3 Marvels in one movie. You know what I mean? Company and Fish. They start thinking after 2 days.
And I
3
still
Marvels
think
over
that
2.
I have a hard time, kind of tracking Carol Danvers's emotional intelligence and like levels of, is she meant to be a really wooden character who doesn't have a whole lot going on? Is she meant to be actually like very deep, but she has a lot of like repression in her emotions? I can't get a good feel on her. And I kept thinking, like, is she playing the same role as the Lessons in Chemistry that we both loved? Like, is she just kind of playing like kind of low level emotions across the thing? I kind of wanted more understanding of that character. But I would say in general the script is rough in this one.
The script is rough. I felt, I don't know. That was the other thing I was going to ask you.
Did you like the cat scene? Did you like the Memory song by Barbra Streisand and the cats eating all of the scientists? Not eating them all, but swallowing them.
I liked the fact that they used the cat song, that they used Memory as the cats were eating them. I didn't like any of that. It felt like if you're going to be funny, you got to go for like I felt like this movie was trying to be a funny movie. Like a Guardians of the Galaxy, like loose and be funny thing, but I never laughed, and it never was super witty, and like you're saying, Samuel L. Jackson, who would normally be a source of like good quips, sarcastic comments, whatever, I felt like, man, how far into this contract is he? Like, how long did Disney say you have to be Nick Fury? Because
I think it's less of that and more like, hey, Samuel L. Jackson, we need you for one last ride. I told you I was out of the game. Just one more movie. We need you in here. You're holding this whole thing together. And he is.
I don't know if he is, though. He wasn't even in the movie that much to like, I don't know.
He just has to connect. Together? He just has to hold that MCU together.
How much longer? He's been in the Marvel Cinematic Universe since the very beginning.
Yeah. And let me tell you a scene that I really liked that I hope would play off.
Yeah.
Payoff. Okay. Let me tell you a scene that I thought would pay off in the future, which is, I loved when they learned that they could switch places by using their powers simultaneously.
Oh, sure.
And there was a scene with a little bit of a music mix. There's actually a really good song in here that I should have looked up beforehand. Not during that scene, but another fight scene had like a great come in song. I believe Missy Elliott was actually on the track. I'll look it up later. I think it was like a Skrillex plus X Missy Elliott track on this that I loved.
Okay.
But there was a scene where they are practicing by like throwing a ball up, switching places real quick. They're training how to fight together as a team. And I was like, ooh, okay, I like this. I like the idea that you have to be so in tandem while you're fighting.
Right.
Then they almost barely do it when they fight later.
I know.
And I looked over at Jill while watching this and I said, there is Captain Marvel, the person who is powerful enough to like
take on Thanos.
Thanos and destroy an entire Thanos army of ships, just blast through them, okay? Then we have 2 other superheroes with deluxe powers as well. They are fighting. Dar-Ben is just some what race is Captain Marvel?
Not a Kree.
Kree.
Yeah.
They're just fighting one Kree. And it's like, why are these 3 superheroes having trouble?
Yeah.
Just shouldn't Captain Marvel be able to just kind of rear back and just like fly through her? Full on like jump to light speed?
you would think. I think you're mixing a universe eye there. But yes, I agree.
It's all Disney, baby.
Also, I watched this in Apple Vision Pro. This is not a tech. This is not a tech.
Better?
So here's the thing. This is not a tech podcast, okay? But I have Apple Vision Pro. I've been using it for a few weeks. I thought this would be an interesting movie because I have watched, like, I've gone back and watched Marvel scenes. I watched a couple other, like, big Marvel movie ones. And it is very impressive and very cool to watch it in this VR, like, on a massive screen. And watching those older scenes, it was, they're feel good. I like the scenes. I thought, and this, you're in my head, Nate, because for so long, every time we would talk about some battle in some superhero movie or disaster movie, you're like, it's just a bunch of
flashing lights.
Just a bunch of CG, just whatever. And I always used to, it didn't matter. I enjoyed that. And now, Nate, I was watching this movie on literally the biggest virtual screen I can imagine. It was like I was sitting in this huge IMAX theater, had my AirPods Pro in, so it sounded great. And I'm watching this CG, and I'm like, it doesn't do it for me anymore. Just like people shooting laser beams out of their hands. It's just not enough. But I also feel like it was enough because it was either Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man doing it, or it was Thor, or it was like the characters that actually
cared about the characters.
You cared about the characters, and it was like it was usually a payoff for a good movie now having a good fight scene with CG. But I guess I really feel now when it's just a bunch of CG lightning bolts after like a mediocre movie that I'm like, this is not really exciting. It also didn't feel like great fight scenes either in this. Like it didn't feel very exciting. So
yeah, it was a little rough. I think that Marvel in general kind of got bigger and bigger and bigger as it headed towards Infinity War and Endgame. But its strength had always been the small stories and the origin stories, and you ended up caring about the Avengers because you cared about them.
Right.
Like a long time before Quantumania, I cared that Ant-Man went back and like missed his daughter growing up 5 years because of the blip.
Right.
Like I cared about these characters going through, and even I would say a little bit, I cared about Monica Rambeau's mom and their relationship as like fighter pilots back in Captain Marvel.
I did, yeah.
And I cared about these characters. And then I always felt like, all right, then you make it a giant laser beam in the sky. And it was good because we hadn't seen stuff like that before. CG was still like ramping up.
It was really good compared to when we were like younger, yeah.
Right, exactly. But like I still was worried that the heroes would die. And as the machine of Marvel got bigger, I started to realize, you're not in danger, superheroes. Like even by Civil War, I was not worried that Iron Man or Captain America would kill each other because it's like these are bigger entities. These are huge elements, and that's
part
why
of the
like,
machine.
the Iron Man like sacrifice was big at the end. Like it was the end of Robert Downey Jr.
Spoiler.
Until they call him for one. Well, what are we? 8 years ago now?
It was
if you're here
6
for
years,
this.
6 years ago.
Oh, okay. So when it gets to these ones, and it's like I am watching an entire planet of basically Skrulls living as like refugees on a planet. And like, I want to care about them, and I want to care about them small, but they shoot it like the planet's getting their atmosphere sucked away, and stuff's falling and everything. And the heroes are saving a few, but for the most part, they're not surviving this. And yet, this movie wants to make sure that like we're not too invested in them. It's almost like they want us to stay at a distance of going. A planet getting destroyed means millions of life forms of these aliens just getting wiped out.
Right.
But instead of feeling that, we're supposed to like kind of keep that like light PG-13. Like, so I'm never able to feel the weight of things. I don't feel the weight of the Civil War on the Kree people. Right. And so it never hits me. I'm not sure if that's intentional. Like they don't want it to get too heavy, or, like everyone's fine. Everyone's fine in this movie, and they will stay fine, and our heroes will stay fine. And
Yeah.
even the sacrifice at the end, spoiler alert for this movie, starting right now, we get Monica Rambeau separated and doing like a sacrifice sort of thing. That's meant to be like, no, don't do it. She gets taken to another dimension. I was never really worried about her. She was, I just assumed, they're just going to set her up for a spin-off if they can.
Right.
Kind of thing. Like, that's just going to head in a different direction.
Multiverse.
Yeah.
Are you, I don't know what movies are on the horizon. I know there's like more Avengers movies coming and stuff like that. Are you, what's your excitement level to see future Marvel movies?
I haven't been that excited about a Marvel movie for a while. I wasn't really excited about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. So it's been like probably since Endgame that I was kind of like, I was seeing them dutifully. I don't think, unless reviews come out that are really, really good for a future one, like I have heard that, Deadpool gets a little bit too rated R-y for me. Like it's almost right on the edge of like, I've heard like, it's that kind of like off the beaten path thing that gets really good reviews that might bring me back to a theater to watch one. But Marvel used to be appointment viewing for theaters, and now it's, if it's at Disney Plus, I'll probably give it a watch.
Yeah, I'm probably not going to go to the movies for a Marvel movie for a while. I mean, I wanted to see Madam
If we're together,
so bad.
If we're in the same
together,
place,
100%, we'll do it. I also saw like even
when's
DC,
the last DC movie?
So
we watched it together. we watched Black Adam together, didn't we? Or was it Aquaman?
Yes. Well, we watched Aquaman together.
It was Aquaman. It wasn't Black Adam. We watched that in theaters.
We watched Shang-Chi together in Orlando.
We did.
We saw that.
That
was fun. You fell asleep in that movie, but it was very late, so I understand.
I woke up for the important parts.
I was looking.
He still had 10 rings.
I was looking for things to watch in Apple Vision Pro. And I saw that the sequel to the Aquaman movie is out. I don't know if you knew that. The Lost Kingdom or something.
Yeah.
And I saw it there, and it was one of those things where you could like rent it for $20 or whatever. So I was like, oh, this might be cool. So I watched the trailer, and like I just talked about with the whole CG stuff, I was like, yeah, I really don't. I don't want to pay even $20 to see this.
I'm not sure if I heard some stories about Nia DaCosta, who is the director of this one, and I don't know how it all went behind the scenes, but like I heard rumblings or rumors of things not going well, and then, COVID stuff, and then the strike stuff after that, and like I heard like things were a little rough, but I have gotten the sense in recent years that directors haven't been super like proud of the work they've created, that they're kind of all held in by this bigger machine, and they're just like, and even with like the press junkets for things, unfortunately this movie didn't, because of the strike, didn't get like the interviews. And so I think a lot of people rejoiced in the flopping nature of the Marvels. I don't rejoice in like it not making a lot of money. It doesn't really actually sway me either way, but it did make me feel like, man, I hope that like the director for this one, like I hope that if she didn't make the kind of movie she wanted to make, that like she'll move on to something else and be like, all right, well, I'm not doing this again. Or maybe if she did like it, like it felt like this movie was edited in a weird way. There were some scenes that are like, I'm getting a voiceover that doesn't quite match with this, or this scene seems cut short that it shouldn't be. And so I'm hoping that this movie wasn't meddled with too much afterwards. I think she had a different project, so Nia couldn't hang around for post-production. I'm hoping that it wasn't just like wrest out of her control. But I have felt like these recent Marvel things, I'm sensing turmoil within and therefore not excitement without. I want people to be excited about me seeing a movie, not just an executive wanting to recoup some money so I can go see it.
That's not a good motivation to like release a movie.
I'm not here to help organizations recoup money.
All right, let's rate this movie on a scale of 0 to 5 cats. I mean, Flurkins on a scale of 0 to 5 Flurkins. What do you give this movie, Nate? I'm gonna give it a 2. I'll just say that 2 Flurkins for me.
I'm gonna give it 2.5. And I'm going to give it the 2.5 because this is a generous 2.5 because I feel like it had a lot of things going against it.
Sure.
It was trying to tie in a lot of things, and it's in the midst of, we'll call it, Marvel's midlife crisis.
Sure.
So,
Okay.
2.5. It was fine. It's Disney Plus. You can watch it. There are some cool scenes. I think someone who, like, with Kamala Khan, like, loving Captain Marvel and then joining her on the team. I thought there would be another scene with Brie Larson being like, "Hey, I went into your bedroom and there's a bunch of pictures of me," and it's kind of weird.
Yes, there should have been that. There should have been that.
Or like, I don't know. It's weird. Yeah,
there should have been that.
I don't know.
Well, let us know.
Fine.
Let us know what you thought about the Marvels or the Marvels, if you want to mispronounce it. You can comment on the Instagram post. You can also support the show. You can do that in Apple Podcasts. You can get our 30-minute bonus episode where we talk about AI-generated video and hoarding. We talk about those two things in the bonus episode. You can also watch the show at youtube.com/@moviesontheside, or you can support the show at patreon.com/@moviesontheside as well. And, as we always say...
Okay, I'm getting a lot of negative energy from you, and I don't like it. That's Carol Danvers.
There it is.
Also, wait! We didn't even say it.
What?
Hank McCoy is in this. The X-Men are in the post-credit scene.
The post-credit scene. That was kind of exciting, honestly. But they're also doing the X-Men 97 animated show on Disney Plus.
Listen, I'm probably more excited about that than I am about future Marvel movies.
Me too. No, that's not the X-Men theme.
What is it?
That's the Wonder Woman.
No, what's the X-Men one? Oh, yeah. That was close. For those that are staying around after this, I just
can't believe
this is like
around.
our post-credit scene.
Yeah.
This is our quick post-credit scene.
Yeah.
Hey, we talked a little bit about Hans Zimmer and his Pirates of the Caribbean, ripping off the Gladiator, ripping off the Rock. Yeah. Do you think that this was before like social media and the internet getting big? Do you think Hans Zimmer thought like, well, even if people see the similarities between all of these things I'm writing, it's not like they're going to like share it with the world. How are they going to get their musical nerd theories out? And then as soon as like Twitter came out, he's like, all right, it's time to go to Crazy Soundscapes because I'm done writing themes because y'all can connect all the dots together now.
I mean, listen, you're going to have similarities.
I also heard it's a very similar theme to a scene in Lion King 2. I also found out during my rabbit hole search.
Did Hans Zimmer do the music for Lion King 2? Did Hans Zimmer do the music for that?
I don't know.
Oh, that's
Didn't
weird.
get that far in the rabbit hole. Just listen to the Lion King 2.
Yeah, no thanks.